Yu-Gi-Oh is fun. Kind of. Sometimes it's bad. Sometimes it's good. I ranked how fun every Yu-Gi-Oh deck I've ever played is on a tier list. Here's how it goes. Burning Abyss is... If you play Burning Abyss today, that's misery. Going 0-6 at locals is not enjoyable. But at its absolute peak, clearly, this was key jingling tier, dude. Shaddolls. Peak Shaddolls around about 2015 era was really, really fun. Super, super fun. Even though it's the enemy of Burning Abyss, I used to love this deck. It was super enjoyable. Spirits. This was one of the decks that I played very early in my time as a Yu-Gi-Oh player, 2014. It was like, meh. It's okay. It wasn't that fun. Stun. You guys are gonna hate me for this, but playing Stun is so freaking fun, dude. Holy dude. The amount of content that I have created just from summoning a Fossil Dyna and setting some back row is insane. True Draco. I think I'm really discovering things about myself here. I think Draco's really fun, dude. Maximizing your draws by going Tribute over Heritage, Heritage pop Apocalypse, Apocalypse pop your True Draco name, activate a different Heritage, and then like draw 3. I really, really like True Draco. It was super enjoyable. Hat. This deck was not very fun. Like, the only interesting thing about that deck was like crashing with hands. That's it. Like, that's fun gameplay. Gradle does that. Does anyone play Gradle? No. Sword Soul. My Girl, Funeral, Drown, etc., etc. Sword Soul's very fun. Super, super is a good deck. Really interactive, especially going second. Sword Soul is one of the most fun decks I've ever played going second. And by the way, going second in Yu-Gi-Oh is usually miserable. Infernity. Jingle, 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 dude. Normal summon Dark Grepher, Pit Stygian Street Patrol, send Ares, search Archfiend, banish Stygian, special summon, add Necromancers, make Lavavel Chain, send Stygian, banish specials. Oh, so good, dude. One of the most fun decks I've ever played in the history of this game. Nothing will give me the thrill of playing Infernity again, dude. That's so freaking good. I really enjoyed this deck. Next deck I played a lot of was Des Frogs. My God, bro, this was literally the Snake Eyes of 2014. That's not even remotely true, sorry. But I had a lot of time playing this deck. I love this deck. Genuinely, it's really fun. Tri-Brigade. I could never really get into this deck. Pure Tri-Brigade was definitely not that enjoyable. Other versions of Tri-Brigade, Tri-Sprite, for example, pretty fun. I don't know, man. Tri-Brigade, it wasn't for me. It's just kind of meh. Fire Fist. This deck is, bro, activate Tenki, get Bear, normal summon, pop a card, attack, get Tenki. It's so dull. Dart World. Dart World is top tier of very, very fun. I mean, it's almost key jingling, but a lot of it is just basically playing by yourself. There's like almost no interaction. You are just activating Dart Worlds until your opponent like either gets bored and leaves, or you essentially just make such a field that it's pretty much an FTK. Pure Utopia. So modern Utopia with all of the like, C spamming and stuff is kind of enjoyable. I've never played any FTK versions, which are popular on Master Duel by bots. So I'd say it's like kind of meh, but also bottom of very fun, somewhere in between there. I did really like this deck. Paleo, super, super fun deck. Love this deck. I don't think I enjoy playing it today, and I think that's probably an overall problem with the game. But just sitting and waiting for your opponent to play, like, you know, they pass to you and it's just like set 5, and it's like, okay, cool, great. Now I get to play. We've done like the 10-minute like unskippable cutscene. Now I get to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Awesome. After you get to that point, pretty fun. So peak Paleo 2016 is definitely one of my favorite decks of all time. Sprite. I don't know. I could never really get into this deck. I don't really understand the appeal. Well, okay, I can understand the appeal. I just didn't think it was that exciting. Raid Raptor is also kind of meh. Very, very linear once you learn the combo. Sitting on a Towers monsters sounds epic and cool, but it gets old very fast. Worms. This was okay. I played a decent amount of Worms, but it's basically just a Fire Hand deck. The one thing about Worms that's so based is activating W Nebula Meteorite. But that's like the only like adrenaline rush you get from playing Worms. Fluffle. It's pretty fun, especially in Master Duel, I will say, because it has Sprite Elf, and you can just do like a bunch of just crazy like turn 1 combos. Maybe it's just like the difficulty of it that kind of puts it off, but it's probably like high meh tier. Yeah, it's pretty fun. Dragoonity. So one of the issues with Dragoonity is that whenever you play a deck that is a worse version of another deck, it's never really going to feel that good to play that deck, at least in my case. Dragoonity is just boneless Dragon Link, and Dragon Link was just better. Like, that's kind of the issue. Monarchs. Monarchs were actually okay. The pure Monarch version, definitely not the one I enjoyed the most because sitting on a domain lock is so dull. But overall, like, if you play the extra deck version, especially if you played Peak Monarchs with Brilliant Fusion in 2015, deck was pretty enjoyable, actually. I don't know, dude. It's just, it has to, like, hitting cards off the top of your deck and seeing what's in the box is great. It's legal gambling. You can't say that isn't fun. Performapal. Super, super fun deck as well. Love this deck, dude. Lost the Pendulum, pop, add, scale, soul charge 4 monsters, pop your scales, get Gi Turtle, Lizard draw, activate, Pot of Greed, draw 2 cards. I freaking love Pepe, dude. Cosmo, I'm gonna be honest, Cosmo was a miserable experience for me. This deck is just not fun. Labyrinth. I do like Labyrinth. Labyrinth is pretty fun, but I think it's, again, not really Labyrinth's fault, but Modern Yu-Gi-Oh's problem. Whenever you play a trap deck in Modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, so much of the agency of your turn is based on your opponent rather than you. And because Modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Turns take like 10 minutes, it makes it more dull to play because a lot of the gameplay is just waiting. But yeah, I mean, it's like top tier meh, I'd say, almost very fun. Synchro Fusionist. This deck is miserable to play against people because the turns take like 10 hours. But if you've ever played this really super niche deck that was only really viable for a few months, you know how fun this is. Like, you could just sit and play this by yourself, and it's really enjoyable. But very fun? I don't know. It wasn't that great for me. All right, we're going to put Aleister in the Kier Jingling tier for the people who click through the video and don't watch until the end. They're going to go to the end tier, see Aleister up here. They're going to be very confused. This one is miserable, but we're going to put it at Jingling tier. Do you know why? Because of the algorithm. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe. B-Trooper. Love this deck, dude. Love this deck. You cycle through all of your insects. You get a bunch of searches. You maybe get your trap card. You get your hand trap guy. What's his name? The freaking DD Crow. In Masadu, it's hilarious as well because you drop Maxi. Your opponent tries to call by your Maxi. And then you chain this and it puts back the Maxi and dodges call by. Some of the funniest plays ever. Love insects. Adamantipator. Most fun deck I've ever played. I'm not even ashamed to say it. Block Dragon Adamantipator with Link Cross and Halka Fibrax. Best deck I've ever played in the history of this game. DDD. Really enjoyed this deck, but the power rating just brings it down because you put all of this time and effort into learning this deck, and it's just not that good, you know? Pure Magispectors. So I've been playing a lot of Pure Magispectors in the Wind Water event, and I don't think it's a fun deck. This is a hot take, but they very deliberately designed the cards to be weaker. The entire gimmick of Magispector is having untargetable, indestructible monsters, but they forgot to make Nui untargetable and indestructible. So resolving Nui, or not resolving Nui, is your entire turn. Because of that, it feels rough. Evil Swarm. I kind of had a lot of fun with Evil Swarm. Probably because contextually it was one of the first decks I ever played competitively. But I enjoyed Evil Swarm. It was a good deck to learn the basics of Yu-Gi-Oh! And this is very much based off my 2014 time as a little baby playing Yu-Gi-Oh! For the first time competitively. I enjoyed Evil Swarm a lot. Minerva Lightsworn. Jingle keys, jingle keys, jingle keys, jingle keys, mill, 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 mill. Activate special summon, make Minerva, mill, mill, mill. Activate special summon, get a search, mill, mill, mill. Love this deck, dude. Infernoids. I don't even remember which version of Infernoids I can say I like the most. Anytime I've played Infernoid, it wasn't like super powerful. The deck has almost no resource game. You know, once you've gone through all of your guys and hopefully your Ecomax OTKs, otherwise it's kind of meh. So yeah. Metalfoes, super, super fun deck. Really love Metalfoes. You'll probably notice that any deck that uses multiple summoning mechanics like Synchroing, Xying, Penduluming, Fusing, always going to be a really enjoyable deck. So Metalfoes, top tier. Really fun. Zephraf, same kind of reason. Yeah, Pendulum decks, pre-Master 04, all of them are so fun. Pure Red Eyes. Miserable. Absolute miserable experience. Konami just refuses to make certain archetypes and decks fun, and I don't get it, and I don't know why. Same with, like, Dark Magician, and same with Blue Eyes. Blue Eyes is a little bit more fun, to be fair, because it was kind of meta at one point. Deliberately making the most iconic Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks in the game not meta and not competitive is, I don't understand the logic. Dragon Link. Jingle the keys, jingle the keys, jingle the keys, baby. Dragon Link has had so many different versions, and all of them were top tier. I heckin' love Dragon Link, dude. Salamangreat is meh. Cyburst decks I find kind of boring. I don't know. Like, Salad was a little bit different because you got, like, some XC summoning with Stalio. Getting your traps was kind of enjoyable. But basically having 0 ways to play around Nibiru is kind of not fun. Dogmatica. I had a great time playing this deck. Honestly, if this deck was a little bit more powerful, I might have enjoyed this even more. Resolving an Albazoa is so freaking based. Let me tell you, it's so enjoyable to play this deck. I love it. Tri-Sprite. This deck is so fun. Very difficult, very rewarding. Playing this correctly is kind of hard, but if you do pull off a Tri-Sprite combo correctly, it is mwah, French kiss. Super good. Tri-Brigate Lyrilusk. I don't know. I could never really get into this deck. Maybe I didn't memorize the spreadsheet correctly, but I didn't find this one very fun. Block BA. Weird, I know that I'm putting a BA variant in here because you would think Block Dragon, one of the favorite decks of all time, BA, one of the favorite decks of all time, but then you put them together, it just wasn't fun. I don't know, I didn't like it. Unchained. Oh man, I don't know, it's up here, dude. I love Unchained. Unchained, it just has so many cool ways to play the game. You're very interactive with this deck. There's linear combos, but usually you get hand trapped, and so you have to adapt quite a lot. And resolving all of the link summons, like stealing your opponent's monster with the red guy, make an abomination, pop a card, pop up one of their cards, attack, battle phase, pop another card, end phase, pop another card. Ugh! Love this deck. Phantom Knights. Dude, freaking jingle the keys. There were some cringe versions of Phantom Knight, don't get me wrong. There was a Scythe Turbo version of it. I get it, but I really love Phantom Knight. Super, super cool deck. Orcust. Yeah, we don't talk about Danger Orcust. Shut up. Pure Zoo. I didn't find this deck fun. Maybe I'm just a crazy hipster, but playing a deck that is that powerful just isn't very fun to me, and I don't see the appeal. The combo versions anyway. The Zeus stuff is kind of fun. Ritual Beast, super, super fun deck. Love Ritual Beast. Ulti Canahawk, target, chain, respond. Love Ritual Beast. Oh my god, I love Ray. You know what the fun thing about Sky Striker is? It's not actually Sky Striker that's fun to play. It's the non-engine of Sky Striker. Demolishing your opponent's entire field with like multiple things like evenly matches, dart rulers, stuff like that, that's really fun. And then just summon Ray, that's hilarious. Numeron! This deck is my dirty secret, man. I love Numeron, dude. Oh, activate calling, special summon, limiter removal, punch, 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 punch. Satisfying. Mwah. Ignister. Played this deck a decent amount. If your opponent imperms your Dark Infant and you don't have another field spell, almost always you're passing. Although I'm sure these days people have adapted the Ignister and they're probably playing a bunch of other Cyburst extenders to help alleviate that issue. But initially on release, I tried a lot of Ignister. I didn't think it was that great. Spellbooks. This one was pretty fun, but not super, super fun. I did like it a lot. Resolving a bunch of different spellbooks in a turn, getting tower draws was the best part of this deck. But other than that, it is kind of just like a glorified, very low power control deck, and it's not that enjoyable. Runic. For all of the shit we give Mr. Schmidt, Runic is really enjoyable. And I'm not talking about Runic stun variants. When you are just spamming your fusions and then sinking off the monsters, and then drawing with Coral Dragon, and then setting up like 1 or 2 negates, draw 3, dropping like hand traps against your opponent tries to play, draw more cards. It's really fun. Marine Cess. Love this deck. Deck is really good. Marine Cess is enjoyable. It's a shame that it's never been quite on the power level of its counterpart, which I like to really basically say is Salamangreat. I love this deck, honestly. Hugely, hugely enjoyable deck. Odd Eyes Performapal, or just Odd Eyes Pendulum in general, 2016 version. Really enjoyable deck as well. Kind of hard carried by Kirin because most of the meta was playing Burning Abyss. So you kind of just bullied BA players. Alright. Chemi Critter. It's miserable. Gemini sucks. Danger Thunder Dragon. Super, super fun deck. And any deck in the game that has snow is almost always going to be up here. Do with that information what you will. Altergeist. Miserable. Yeah, sorry, Doug. I don't know how you played this deck. It is so boring. There was way more interesting decks you could play in 2018 and 2019. Imagine playing Altergeist. And finally, Snake Eye. I admit I have not played a lot of Snake Eye, but the little amount of Snake Eye that I've played, I've enjoyed it. I'll be honest, I enjoyed Snake Eye. I think it's fun. The problem with Snake Eye is that it's tier 0 and it's been around for like 8 months. That's why people hate this deck, I think, at this point. All right, but Snake Eye, super enjoyable deck. Anyway, I'm sure there's some other stuff I've missed here, but there it is. My tier list for most fun decks I've played. Comment, like, subscribe, and until next time, adios.